Hi guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So we're back with an Ashe supplementary guide, and my man Keaton has been requesting for this one for like I think 3 to 4 times, and I actually originally recommended the Ashe complete guide, but after further thought I realized that I did actually want to make an Ashe supplementary guide, and I do have a new build for you guys. So if you're watching Keaton, this one was a result of the request by you. So alright, so let's get started with the items, then we're going to talk about the runes and the spells. So first up, the first item we have is the Blade of the Ruined King. So, or before we get into that actually, now you will realize that this build is pretty much the same as our previous Ashe build. The only difference is that we swapped out Runaan's Hurricane for Stormraizer, and this basically, in my opinion, I feel like this build is better because you do more damage, but at the same time you don't get that spread of your auto attacks onto two other champions anymore, which kind of sucks. But I think this build is better in solo queue because you have more damage personally, which gives you more agency and you are able to kill people more easily, although it's a lot more single target. I think that like the Runaan's Hurricane build is way better if you're, for example, playing in a team of 5 or you're a pro player, that kind of thing. But I think this build is better for solo queue. So jumping into it, Blade of the Ruined King. The first item, of course, I covered this very extensively in the Ashe complete guide, but this is absolutely necessary for Ashe because it's not really about the attack damage, it's not really about the attack speed, it's really about two things. The first thing is the physical vamp. Without the physical vamp, Ashe gets blown up way too easily. Like in like longer fights where you and your opponent is attacking each other, you're gonna lose the sustain battle and just gonna die because Ashe doesn't have a lot of damage. So if she doesn't make up for it with the sustain, she's not going to be winning any 1v1s, or she's not going to be winning any like 2v2s because you have less damage than them, they have more damage than you, they're going to kill you before you kill them. So with this, you can sort of even the playing field by getting the lifesteal so that you can die slower, I guess you could say. And secondly, what we have is we have the Drain passive, which is what's really useful for her as well. So when you hit someone with 3 attacks or abilities, you deal a bit of extra magic damage, but that's not the important part. The important part is you steal 25% of their movement speed for 2 seconds. So what this does is it makes them slower and it makes you faster, and combined with Ashe's slows on her auto attacks and her abilities, this can sometimes kill someone. Like sometimes if they don't expect it coming, you steal their movement speed, you slow them, and they realize that they cannot run. And if they don't have flash, they're pretty much dead. If you have a long enough runway to kill them before they reach their tower or they reach their teammates, pretty much they're dead. So the Drain of the Blade of the Ruined King, amazing. So Blade of the Ruined King, first item. Next up, Stormraizer, second item. So this gives you AD, attack speed, and crit. Obviously, all the stats that Ashe kind of wants. I mean, Ashe does want crit for a more slows and kind of more damage indirectly, but not the direct crit kind of damage. But yeah, so you also get a slow on the Stormraizer. So the Stormraizer slow combined with the Blade of the Ruined King slow, oh man, you're going to be slowing people for days, and combined with your passive slows, people are not going to be escaping you anytime soon. So next up, for the boots, generally you go for plated steel caps or the Merc Treads because you already have the lifesteal from the Borg, you don't need Gluttonous Greaves. Then you go for either Stasis if you require it, or Proto Belt to reposition yourself in fights. And next up, you top it off with an Infinity Edge, which gives you more AD, more crit, and more crit damage. In this case, the crit damage for Ashe is just more. It's not crit damage, but it's more damage because Ashe does have unique scaling with Infinity Edge. Kind of hard to explain, but it does give you more damage, but it's not really more crit damage. So then we go for Moral Reminder, gives you the Armor Pen as well as the Grievous Wounds. Sometimes you might need to build Moral Reminder before you go for IE if the enemy team is really tanky or has a lot of sources of lifesteal. Of course, you can also go for Executioners early on. Lastly, you top it off with the GA, of course, for the revive mainly. And if your GA is down, honestly, I really recommend you just straight up replace it with a Runaan's Hurricane. Now, this will give you 75% crit, and it also gives you the Runaan's Hurricane passive, which is what you really want for you to spread out your shots to slow more people. So now, the rune's pretty obvious, I think. Lethal Tempo is really the rune that even makes Ashe viable. Like, with Conquer, Ashe feels so bad to play. Like, with the Lethal Tempo, you feel like you're attacking really, really quickly, and it is really, really useful for Ashe. And yeah, this rune pretty much makes Ashe good. So obviously, it gives you more attack speed every time you attack, and at 6 stacks, you gain a boost of attack speed. And next you go for weakness, because you have so many ways, and it's so easy to proc weakness. Like you have the drain, you have the slow, and you have your auto attack which slow, you have your W which slows, you have your alt, everything basically slow. So this pretty much just gives Ashe 5% more damage permanently, because everything Ashe does slows people. So weakness, just a damage booster for Ashe. Then we have Nullifying Orb. Of course, as I mentioned, Nullifying Orb can pretty much save your life in the laning phase. Of course, if you need Bone Playing or Hunter Titan, you do go for that, but as a general default, Nullifying Orb is great. Then you go for Mana Flow Ban, because you don't build Mana Mune in this build, and you don't really build Mana Mune for Ashe nowadays, because there are a lot of better builds, but you do run out of mana quite a lot, because you do spam W, you do spam Q quite a bit, so you will be running out of mana. You will see this in the gameplay as well. I run out of mana quite a bit, so you do need that Mana Flow Ban to give you that bit of extra mana to sort of sustain yourself in the lane, as well as in like longer team fights or when you haven't recalled for a lot of time. So you do need that Mana Flow Ban. Spell Splash and Exhaust, self-explanatory there, but now we can actually move on to talking about the gameplay. Alright, so here we have the gameplay. So now, as you guys can see, in addition to getting ourselves that Project Vayne, we also got ourselves the Project Ashe. So kind of really do like the Project skin line. I finally decided to cash out on getting myself some skins. You know how it is, we love those skins. So anyways, here we have a really, honestly I would say it's a really interesting match on Ashe. We do have a couple of boo-boos here and there, but we do also do really well here and there. So we're going to cover all of that as we get into the video. So here, we're up against an Ezreal and Rakan lane. So the Ezreal and Rakan lane is not super duper threatening, because basically Ezreal has poke, I have poke as well, and we both have about as hard of a time to land that poke because of minions. And Rakan engage is a little bit scary, but he doesn't have like a Draven or like any real champion that does too much damage to really follow up. Ezreal isn't really the most threatening at early levels. Now, if you realize, Ezreal is alone in the lane and Rakan is mid, and we have a set at top. So what is happening here? Now, what's happening here is that if you take a look at the scoreboard, the Jace is AFK. So now, of course, this pretty much means that this match, I wouldn't say it's a guaranteed win, but it's like a 90% chance you win. I have lost like matches before where where the enemy team had one AFK from the very beginning of the game, so I'm not gonna say it's a 100% win. And likewise, I've also won games where I had a team AFK from the start. But the strange thing is that now Remake is in the picture already, so I'm not actually sure why the enemy team didn't just remake the game. I don't know why they didn't just remake the game. So I'm pretty confused on that, but they didn't actually remake the game, which is what I was expecting to happen after I realized Jace was missing. So we pretty much have a 4v5 the entire game. So now this is sort of a little bit scuffed in that sense that it's not really a fair match, but when life gives you lemons, right? So we are just gonna go with the flow in that case. So you can see Pantheon ganking mid with the Rakan, and we know that Jace is nowhere to be seen because he's AFK. Set has just died to Ram, and so we're pretty much in a 2v1 sorry, against the Ezreal. So here, the best thing you can do when someone is AFK is to just shove the lane. So basically, you shove the lane and you pick up tower plates where you can, or at least take tower damage, because as 1 against 2, the remaining champion in the lane has a really tough time really doing anything really. So all you want to do is, as you guys can see, I'm just auto attacking the minions. I'm shoving the lane, no hesitation here. I'm not gonna last hit minions, only I'm gonna just be shoving non-stop. Now Rakan is back into the picture. He comes in with a knockup, but just take a look at this. Ashe with the lethal tempo. Look at this. Look at how much damage I'm doing to him. He was like at 3/4 health and he's almost dead now. Excuse me. So here I hit the ult onto the Rakan for the kill, and Ezreal shifts in because I was 1 HP, and somehow we get the double. Now I have no idea how we actually didn't die there, because Sona didn't pop the heal. She didn't have the W on, but somehow I actually managed to survive there. I really am not sure how. Might have been the Nullifying Orb, but either way we do die there off the Ezreal ult when he respawns. So I guess he hit level 5 after he died, and then he used his ultimate when he revived, or was he already level 5? Either way, I definitely was not paying attention to that. and as a result, I do die to Ezreal's ultimate, but we do get 2 tower plates off his death. I already have my Blade of the Rune King completed, so I am doing pretty well now. I'm pretty strong. So here, I do actually check enemy blue buff is up. So means that Pantheon will sooner or later come around to actually go for that blue buff, and probably we will get ganked. So we do want to be cautious of that, because obviously Pantheon is a really strong early game champion, so this could actually turn the tide of the match if like Pantheon snowballs and gets his team snowballing. Like as I said, 4v5s are not impossible to win. You can win, but just that you really need every lane to get fed. So here we're already past 4 minutes, and I realize there's no remakes. I have no idea what's happening here. Maybe Jace is holding his team hostage. Maybe he got pissed off in the draft. Maybe he just never turned up to the match. We have no idea what's really happening here. But anyways, we're gonna just continue shoving in. We're gonna continue taking tower plates / the tower. Pantheon finally comes in as expected. He goes for the stun onto the Sona. Sona actually gets off a really nice ulti, and my ulti goes to Narnia. As a result, Sona does die, and I die as well. Now, honestly, if we got the ulti down, obviously we get the kill onto the Pantheon, no issue there, and likely we can get the Ezreal as well. But what happened there is I really don't know. Like, I manually targeted that forward, and I guess auto target would have served me better, but sometimes I think, I don't know if it's my dead zone or what the problem is, but sometimes my ults just go like sideways. I'm not out, sometimes my skill shots just go sideways or backwards, like especially with Ezreal, where you spam skill shots a lot. Sometimes my Qs go sideways, sometimes my Qs go backward. I have no idea what's happening here. Honestly, I really have no idea. So I really gotta get the problem fixed, but I have no idea how, because I'm not really even sure what caused the problem. I guess I gotta experiment with the dead zone size and see if that actually helps to solve the issue, because something is not right there. So anyways, we managed to actually force the tower, but Set actually managed to actually get the first tower of the game. Like, if you take a look at enemy Set, he's 1-1. He's doing pretty alright in the lane overall, but we do pick up the dragon relatively easily, and we're gonna see if we can do anything to the Ezreal here. I hit my W on him, which has the slow, so now with the E as well for the speed ups, and Rakan comes in. I actually managed to ult past the Rakan onto the Ezreal. But probably ulting the Rakan may have been better. May have been able to get the kill on the Rakan, but I don't think so, because he could have just jumped back to the Ezreal. So I thought ulting Ezreal was a better idea. At least it removed him from the fight for like a couple of seconds. So anyways, nothing too much comes of it, and we're just going to just recall, go back to base, and get ourselves items. So here, into the BF sword, gives us a huge injection of damage, of course. And now that we've taken down the bot tower, we can rotate over and exert pressure onto other areas of the map, that being mid. So we're going to head over onto the mid lane, and we're going to just pick up CS and try to push onto the tower again. So Rakan missed his W, so that means we can pretty much abuse him quite a bit. Now Set, he may be pretty fed, but he gets kited by Ashe really easy. As you guys can see, he cannot walk anywhere near in range of me, and so I can very easily just kite him out. He has to like flash or protobelt to actually get in range on me, and I don't really want that, or I want to prevent it from happening. So Rakan in with the engage, nice Sona ultimate onto 2. I ult the Pantheon, and somehow Rakan lives on 1 HP. Pantheon does actually end up dying though, so we do get something good out of that. Rammus is coming in with his Powerball. I'm gonna flash forward to try to follow up, but he already actually gets the kill on Ezreal, so that wasn't needed. I get off an extra auto attack onto Set, and here I'm trying to take the tower, but I realize that we have no minions, so I start tanking tower, and I nearly actually died to the tower, but thankfully I get out in the nick of time, and we can actually as 5 take down the mid lane tower, really opening up the map for me and my team. And yeah, so here we're just going to go ahead and back. Pantheon actually ults in and pretty much just collapses onto the Darius. Now you will see that we're in a 5v4, sorry, but the Darius kind of isn't really too good at the game. Like, you'll see he does a lot of strange things throughout the game, so that's really weird. But yeah, so anyways, here we're just waiting a second longer so we can actually pick up Stormraizer. Just a couple gold off there, but we get the Stormraizer. And here, I was planning on going bot, but the entire wave has evaporated already. There is a fight happening in the top lane, so the best case scenario for me to do is to go mid lane to clear out that Rift Herald. Here I go shoot an ult from downtown, driving it a little bit, getting the hit onto the Pantheon, and this allows my team to actually follow up, as you guys can see, and get the kill onto the Pantheon. So as Ashe, you always want to be looking out for these long range arrows. The long range arrows are always going to be better than the short range ones, because the longer your arrow travels, the longer the stun is. So when you can get like a cross map arrow, that is always going to be the best. Of course, don't be over ambitious to go for those. Like if you can out someone right in front of you, just go for that. A 1 second stun like is better than no stun at all. So don't hesitate to use your ult in close range, far range, you know, whatever the scenario is. And Ashe ult cooldown isn't really that long, so I would say that if you're not like getting threatened by anybody, you should just try to hit your ult like long range for your team. So here, they're kind of trying to catch out the Darius here, and I'm sort of just trying to kite out, flash forward into the E-buy set, which is what I was talking about earlier. I do exhaust him though, so he does do a lot less damage, but I'm kind of dying to him. I do have to actually ult him in the face to protect myself, as you guys can see, another use of the ult. So you use your ult defensively in the face to protect yourself, you use your ult long range to get a pick for your team, or you can use your ult like relatively medium range, like just now the first one I did on Runaan, where he's kind of near you and you can just ult him for the CC so you can kill him. So yeah, this game I'm getting the Proto Belt because I don't really feel a need for Zhonya, because no one can really instantly burst me, but Proto Belt can allow me to get away from Runaan W, from getting into Pantheon or Set's range, so Proto Belt is going to be really helpful for me in this game. Rammus is a tank, he doesn't need the red buff, so I wouldn't say really fed, but I'm pretty alright, so I'm just going to be taking the red buff here. In the meantime though, my team is taking the Rift Herald, and the enemy team is kind of trying to collapse in on them, but they're a little bit too slow off the collapse, and Cloud Dragon is actually spawning in under half a minute. So here my team is going to actually rotate over to Cloud Dragon, while we can see like a Rakan and all backing, and here as you can see, Darius is walking around like a headless chicken. He's trying to, I don't know what he's trying to do actually, but he's sort of like trying to stop their backs or something, but he doesn't really know what he's doing like the entire match. But hey, you know, this match is not about to flame the Darius, we're talking about Ashe here. So here, I'm going to use my W on the entire wave to clear it faster, queuing the wave as well to clear it faster. And we're going to hit over to the Dragon. We see an engage going in by Pantheon / Rammus engaging onto each other. Darius gets caught out. I actually ult right at close range onto the Rakan to get the kill onto him. We get the double onto the Pantheon, slowing down the Ezreal. I actually flashed over to try to get the kill onto Ezreal because I thought that he was escaping, but Akali actually hit the E already, so I didn't actually need to flash there because Akali actually had the kill secured, but I didn't actually realize that, so I flashed forward anyways. So kind of a little bit wasted, but doesn't quite matter. So here we're going to be able to actually take the Cloud Dragon. Both junglers are dead. Pantheon is respawning in a couple of seconds though, so we gotta do this quickly before he outs like straight into the Dragon Pit and tries to go for a steal. So here, enemy blue buff is up, and Ashe really kind of does want that blue buff because you do use a lot of mana. If you take a look at my mana at the moment, really low, but Sona does KS the blue buff from me, and we're back into another fight. Knockup comes in by the Rakan. Nice Sona ultimate onto 2 again. I'm going to be exhausting the Set, who's pretty much the main hope of the enemy teams. I always kind of focusing my exhaust onto the Set here. Sona does get the kill onto the Rakan. Rammus gets the taunt in onto Pantheon, and I pick up the kill on Pantheon. Here I'm at 0 mana, so I have my ult up, but I can't actually ult anybody because I don't have any mana to do that, because I don't have the blue buff. So I don't actually manage to get off my ult, but we do actually manage to pick up all of the kills necessary, so it doesn't actually quite matter too much in the end. But here, we're going to try to take down the mid lane inhibitor. Shouldn't be too much of a challenge. Mid lane inhibitor secured. Taunt goes in by the Rammus into the Sona ultimate, into Ashe auto attacks, and we do actually even get the charge onto the base. But of course now we gotta be backing off because the entire enemy team is kind of respawning yet again, so we don't want to be messing with the enemy team right at their doorstep. So here, we're gonna actually we're gonna pick up some items as well as mainly restore our mana. So we're now 7-2 and 7. Now we are actually pretty fed. We can get the entire IE off of one back. So we had over 3,400 gold there. So here, mana fully restored, and I'm gonna head back on over to my blue buff, and or rather our team's blue buff, and we're gonna get that blue buff. So here, just going for the blue buff take, of course, because we do need the mana. Sona comes in for trying to KS the blue buff again, but we do actually manage to secure the blue buff this time. So here we're gonna just take the grump as well. Nothing too much happening on the map. Just gonna get off some farming wherever we can. And here, just going to rotate over onto mid. Here, just checking for any enemies in the area. Akali gets collapsed on by two people, both the Pantheon and the Ezreal collapsing in on her. She actually kills the kill onto the Ezreal, and I'm gonna try to help her out by getting the stun onto the Pantheon. I actually hit the stun onto the Pantheon, driving in a little bit, but I actually end up, instead of helping her, I actually end up KSing her. And I wasn't actually intending to KS that kill, but I was actually trying to help her stun the Pantheon so she can either escape or kill him. But turns out that she's so fed that she actually just kills the Ezreal like instantly, and then she actually just kills the Pantheon pretty much instantly. That ended up that my ult got the KS. But anyways, you know, it is what it is. We're just gonna go ahead and pick up the tier 3 tower in the top lane. Rakan tries to go in and pretty much gets stunned for his efforts and dies to, I think, somebody's red buff. Actually no, he dies to Sona. And here we get the kill onto the set as well. Pretty much everybody's dead at this point, and pretty much the game is won right here. So Pantheon ults in, I'm flashing away, he stuns onto the Akali, and I do pretty big damage onto him, honestly. So here we're just gonna go ahead and end the game, shooting out my ult for fun, and there we have it. So as usual, I'll leave you guys with the stats. So thank you so much for watching the video, and goodbye.